What's happening, guys? It's Jeremy Blanton with RE/MAX Southern Shores, and I just wanted to take some time today and just kind of reflect on this crazy, wild year that we have had here in real estate in 2022. As the year's coming to an end right now, there has been so much that has transpired this past year. If you think back to the beginning of the year and look at some of the videos that I put out then, we were talking about the market, multiple offers, fighting over a house, things to do to win your bid over other people, things that sellers should look at when accepting offers, and things that they should be demanding out of the buyers. People back then, we were putting a house on the market, and within 24 to 36 hours, we'd have 3, 4, 5. I had one with 11 bids that came in on this property. Homes were selling for 20 to 50 to 100 to 200,000 in some parts of the country over asking price. And the market was just absolutely insane. Well, it's not that way anymore. It has definitely shifted, and we're going to discuss a little bit of that over the next few minutes here and what is going on in the market currently today. And then also at the end, we're going to discuss some parts of the Myrtle Beach market that they're going to be the same no matter what's happening in the real estate world. So let's get into this and kind of talk through this a little more. So as I was saying, in the market, things were going crazy. Houses were hitting the market. People were writing offers right away. Things were going under contract within 24 hours. People were buying it as is. They were waiving inspections. They were waiving the appraisal. They were waiving everything they could, including waving their hands, trying to win the bid, but didn't always get that to happen. In fact, we talked a lot about people who ran into what we called buyer fatigue, meaning they put offers in multiple times trying to win a house and lost. They were going and finding a place to rent because, there was just nothing available out there in the resale market. Inventory in some of the markets, some of the neighborhoods, was down to maybe 2 houses to pick from, and there wasn't a lot to choose from. New construction became another entirely different animal where things were simply impossible to find. Builders, they didn't care whether the agents worked with them or not. They were going to still sell their houses. Some of the local builders, they basically got to the point where they said, we're not going to work with agents. We're only going to give you a very minimal amount of money if you bring a buyer. We're not going to allow that buyer to make any choices. We're not going to allow that buyer to pick the lot they want, or the floor plan, or the colors, or any of the stuff. You're going to take what we give, you're going to like it, and you're going to buy it. And people still did it. They came, they bought, they did what they could just to secure a house. Nowadays, those builders, they're coming back. They're begging us agents to come out. They're holding open houses and special realtor events where we can come and have a free meal on them. And they're giving gift cards away, and they're doing prizes and stuff just for attending. Why? Because they're trying to get people back in the door of these developments. They got a little greedy. I talked about it in one of my videos where I talked about King Seller and, how they were in charge of everything and they were going to do whatever they could. Well, nowadays, those builders, those sellers, they're having to change their attitude. They're having to come back down to reality. And the market overall has shifted. The inventory of homes has gone from that record low, as you can see here in this graphic, at 1.1 months in March of 2022 to up to well over double. Now, if you look at the national headlines, they're going to scream, inventory has doubled, and people are going to freak out and go, oh my gosh, we're in a housing bubble. The market is crashing. That's not the case either. What we really have going on here is just a market that is starting to level out some. As I've shared in the past, anytime a market is under 6 months of inventory, it's still considered a seller's market. So right now, we are definitely still in that seller's market. If we look back, and as an agent that's been in the business now for over 20 years, I like to look at the history. Back in 2005, 2006, and 2007, when the market was booming again, our inventory back then was only 4.5 months. We're not even near that level yet. So we have a long, long way to go until we get to that point. So what is causing this shift? Is it that people are no longer interested in moving to Myrtle Beach? Is it that people are in love with living in the Northeast again and they want to stay in the cold and in the winter? No, those things aren't the case. What has caused the shift in the market to slow down a little bit is our economy. If you look at things, interest rates on mortgages were much, much lower than they should have ever really been. Back in 2019, 2020, they were right around the mid fours. 2021, they dipped down. I refinanced my house that year. I got one under 3%. At the beginning of 2022, interest rates were hovering right around that 3% mark. Well, over this last year, we have watched interest rates just skyrocket through the roof and go up exponentially over that time period. Interest rates that were in the threes were now well over 7% in some places. Now they have started to level off a little bit and in some instances come down a little bit, but what we feel is that I'm gonna see those stay right around that 6 to 7 mark for at least the next several months. Hopefully by the end of next year or even maybe a little bit into 2024, we're gonna see those rates come back down a little bit. I'd love to see rates get back to the fours. I don't know if that'll ever happen again, but the saying that a lot of the lenders and agents use is that we should marry the house, date the rate. What that means is this: if we find a house that we absolutely love, it has the size we need for our family, it's in the location we want with all of the amenities we wanted and the colors and everything that we're looking for, we should go ahead and buy that house, even if interest rates are a little bit higher right now, because inevitably at some point along the line over the 30-year mortgage, those rates will come back down again. When they do, you can refinance at that point and start to save money from there moving forward. So if you find that house, get it while you can, because what I'm seeing, prices of homes are going to continue to go up no matter what. Interest rates, they're going to do kind of the waves up and down. And so maybe if we're buying right now on a wave up, we just wait a little while and wait for it to go back down and we can save the money at that point. So you want to definitely pay attention to that when you're thinking about buying a house right now. So as I mentioned, rates right now are hitting right around that 7% mark, which to some people, they cannot even begin to fathom and understand that, because all they've ever seen or known of is rates in that 3 to 4% rate mark. Well, if you think back a little bit, and someone like myself that's been in this for a while, I remember back to 2006 when I purchased my first townhouse. And that home I bought and the interest rate was just under 8%. And I, as a first-time home buyer, was ecstatic just to be able to qualify for a loan, number one, but also with that to be able to get a loan at a decent rate. I paid my interest every month on that property and bought the home and was just excited to get one. If you think of someone who bought a home back in the 1980s, they were paying rates way higher than that. I used to hear people say about them being in the 13, 15, 17% rate. If you owned a home back then, do me a favor, leave a comment down below and tell me what your rate was. I'd love to hear it. But if you look at rates today, in comparison to the grand scheme of things, they're not overall that bad. If you're someone that cannot purchase a home right now with cash, then it's a great option. You have options then also with the lenders that you can help to lower those payments each and every month. The first one, when you're buying that house, if you can put more than 20% down, you're going to be able to save mortgage insurance each month. By taking mortgage insurance off of your monthly payment, it's going to save you easily $75 to $100 a month on a $300,000 mortgage. So that's one way you can save money each and every month. Another thing you can do is a lot of the lenders offer what is called a recast function, where what that means is once a year, you can make a one-time payment onto the principal of your loan and keeping all the other terms the same. It just has to be a minimum of at least $10,000. So if you make that one-time recast payment, you can take your whole thing, recalculate it, and save money each and every month by doing that in one lump payment. So those are just two ways that you can save some money on your monthly payments. So back at the beginning of the year, I did a YouTube live video where I went live with my lender Erica Davis at Guild, and we were discussing rates, and we talked back then and predicted that rates were going to go up some. We didn't expect them at that point to go from 3 to 7, but we did expect them to go up a little bit. Of course, at that same time, we also didn't expect the United States to have the inflation rise like it did during this time. You know, I think back to 2020 when COVID was happening, a gallon of gas here in Myrtle Beach was around $1.40. Well, during this past year, gas prices were up over $4 at some points, and luckily right now they've come down and they're good at $2.85 a gallon. So things have gone up tremendously. I recently took my family to get some fast food, and it was 50 or 60 bucks for 5 of us just to get fast food. You know, a combo meal now at one of these places is gonna cost you 8 to 10 bucks a person. They used to be the $4 to $5. The only place you're getting that anymore is go to Wendy's and get you a biggie bag. But anywhere else, it's gonna be a whole lot more. So pricing on everything has just gone up exponentially over this last year. In addition, supply chain issues have made it very difficult to get things and have made prices on other materials to go through the roof. If you remember back to 2020, let's talk about lumber a minute. Back then, lumber tripled basically in a month's time. Why? Because you couldn't find it. So we have seen just prices on everything go crazy. So interest rates doing the same thing isn't really that surprising to me. The other thing that has been virtually impossible to guess or figure out is what are the closing dates going to be on a new construction home? People who are buying a home that was supposed to close in August, well, they're now closing in November. I had another client who was supposed to close in November. They've now been pushed to March of 2023. Why? The builders can't get sheetrock. They couldn't get windows, garage doors. We talked about garage doors a lot this year, and I never realized I would talk about them so much, but it's one of the things people couldn't get. Flooring, very difficult to find. White cabinets, hard to get, taking much longer. And so supply chain not only caused issues with pricing, but also the availability. And the availability then made houses more expensive, harder to close, making it more frustrating for everyone all around. What does that mean? More time spent in rentals, more time spent in other places that people didn't want to be. So hopefully as we move into 2023, those things will subside as well. But at the end of the day, I talked about a lot of crazy things that have happened here in Myrtle Beach over this past year. And I've talked about how the market has gone through the roof, slowed down, and all the craziness that has happened with it. But at the end of the day, there's some things that are constant about Myrtle Beach that are never going to change. These are things that make people want to move here each and every day. Those are the things that excite people about Myrtle Beach, about living here. And those are some things that everyone seems to enjoy. What are they? Well, the first one, the lower cost of living. Gas prices here are significantly less than other parts of the country. Costs on food and beverage and those things are also much less. And so people enjoy living here because they can save money each and every day. The second thing is lower property taxes. South Carolina is still ranked as the 6th lowest property taxes in the country. So people love living here and saving that money each and every day. The third thing, and the one that, well, everybody seems to love, is our weather. We have great weather here. We don't have the heavy snowstorms and things. And so people are gonna move here because they're tired of dealing with snow. They're tired of the cold. And they're gonna move here so that they can enjoy Myrtle Beach's beautiful weather. And of course, the last thing, the biggest reason why everyone wants to move here, simply the beach. We have 65 miles of gorgeous beaches all up and down the coast that you can go and enjoy each and every day. And is one of the biggest reasons why people want to move here to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina each and every day. And it's probably the reason you're watching this video right now. If you have questions about moving here and want to learn more, my contact information is down below. Feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to help you do that. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor, give it a thumbs up, get that bell on, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.